It looks like it's getting to be 6 p.m. Time for us to start the meeting. So if we'll all stand, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from the previous meeting? Do I have a motion? Do I have a motion to approve?
That was all the one I signed.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting? Okay, and a second. I got Eric for the first, the second. Who's motion for the second? Okay, good. All right. Any changes, corrections, or additions? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, the motion passed unanimously. Next, we have the report from Board of Commissioners. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had our last regular meeting, the Board of Commissioners, on April the 15th. Items of note for the Planning Commission. City Manager Webb reported that TDOT was working on the paving the sidewalk transitions, and then would start paving Highway 321, so I think we've seen that, and it looks like they're wrapping up those sidewalk improvements. So had a chance to talk to Mr. Harry Cowan this morning, and Mr. Cowan is my barometer for the sidewalks. So he gives the transitions the thumbs up. He said the concrete side of the street is looking real good, and reminded me that we needed to now upgrade on the asphalt side. Also, during our April 15th meeting, we had some discussion about some reflective paint and reflectors. We've been doing a experiment with the assistance of the maintenance department under Commissioner Martin, and we got some input on some of the reflective paint that's been put down to help people be able to see the road cuts in the evening and in the night, and we talked about reflective paint versus little reflectors. So I don't know if y'all have noticed any of those, but we're going to continue to do some experimenting with that, taking note that there is paving going on this summer, but then once they complete that, we may go back in and apply some reflective paint, just be for businesses and things we wouldn't necessarily be doing, residences and things all up and down 321. But we've got a little budget to do that, and we're trying to make sure that we increase the visibility for safety. Vice Mayor Satterfield reported out on Parks and Rec, and of note for the Planning Commission, they said that the RFQ committee had recently held interviews with the firms that submitted interest in the Special People's Park, and that the committee had narrowed their selection to 2 candidates and would be holding a meeting on the 17th to select the firm, and I guess that has already happened, so we'll have to see. I don't have the results of that. Vice Mayor, you want that?
Yeah, I'll report on that at our Board of Commissioners.
Okay, that sounds good. So you'll have to be in suspense for that, but great progress, and really appreciate the leadership of Vice Mayor on that. Mr. Hope gave an update on our community plan update. We're continuing to make good progress on that. We held a workshop as part of our April meeting that ETDD facilitated. They've done quite a lot of work looking at the zoning ordinance. So it's important to take into account zoning ordinances and other things, because those are the implementing regulations for the land use transportation plan, what we're calling our community plan. So that was a very successful workshop and quite a lot of data that was presented by ETDD. So we're continuing to make progress there. And then we also selected a new member for the Planning Commission. So as you all know, Mr. Haskellret resigned, and so I have appointed with the advice of the City Council, Mr. Harry McIntosh, to join the Planning Commission. So I think they'll join here at a subsequent meeting. So those are the highlights from our last Board of Commissioners meeting. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions for the mayor regarding the report from the Board of Commissioners? All right, thank you, Mayor. Okay, moving on, public input. Do we have anyone who signed on the sign-up sheet for public input? Now is the time.
Brent Hedrick. Steve Philbin.
Good evening. I want to address the board on the proposed ordinance regarding excavation and drive and curb cut permits. I'm afraid I've got way more to say than 3 minutes to do. So I guess my suggestion is that you look at it really seriously and maybe consider getting some outside expert advice on what you're doing. In all due respect, I think it may be a little out of your wheelhouse, and it's out of mine too. I was not a site designer. I was in a previous life a civil engineer, so I knew enough to know what I didn't know. That being said, I guess one main suggestion would be possibly to separate the curb cut out of it and maybe let the site design go in with the site plan system. That's other than that, and other than getting the details on it, that's your all's job, and I'm gonna let y'all do it. But I just wanted to throw my 2 cents worth in. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that.
Don, do you want to say? You have a question?
I'm Don Hedrick. I'm a resident here in Townsend and a property owner. Now, I was the bad guy here 40 years ago when that zoning ordinance was drawn up. I sat in hour after hour meeting. Now, I watched this driveway cut excavation ordinance run its course. I'm appalled at how it got to where it is. It needs to be scrutinized. This is a regulation. A regulation takes away one's rights. All you people are property owners. Look at it in terms, is this important? What is the intent of this regulation? Each part of that regulation that's in there. What's the intent of it? And clean it up. If it's not going to gain anything for our community, why impose these regulations or take away a person's right to use his property? This is one of the basic rights of us as a United States citizen, to own property and be able to use it and improve it as we see fit, without imposing undue hardships or adverse effects on someone else. So I urge you to clean it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Okay. It looks like the public input. And we'll move us into new business. New business item number 1. We have mural application for Townsend Gateway Alliance. Proposed renderings of murals on the retaining walls of the 3 tunnels in Townsend. Now, the initial application has been approved by the Mural Subcommittee on March the 21st. And this is being brought to us seeking a recommendation from the Planning Commission to go ahead and send this mural application on to the City Council at their next regular meeting. In your packet, you should have the mural request application. And this came from the Townsend Catesco Gateway Alliance, and this is for the City of Townsend bicycle trails and tunnels underneath the highway. Looks like everything's been filled out here. And we do have a representative here, I guess, Jill. Would you want to just come up? You've been involved with this mural application, and it's ongoing. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's photos of the represented art, but if you'd like to just give a little bit more input about this.
I think, yes, everything should be submitted in there. We were going to, during the meeting in a couple of weeks, actually have slides so everybody could see it and see all those, but I think this has been in process with TCGA for quite some time. I don't know exactly how long. I know for me, it was one of the first projects that I got assigned when I come on the team, but so from just recent development, I think, and I don't really know like what your all's plans are or if you have plans to do anything about the safety of people crossing 321. But one of the things, and I don't know if y'all have even talked about that or that's been an issue, but one of the things that had brought it up for our conversation was that the mural is not only adding for like beautification and just to do something with them, but it would encourage people to actually go and use the tunnels, so for safety things. So that's been a bit of a conversation that we've had recently. So, but anyway, other than that, we've got the artists, we've got all the correct paint, we've got the coatings that is supposed to go on it to keep it safe. We've made agreements that we keep it up, and I think that's about it. I mean, is there anything I'm missing?
Not that I can think of. Are there any questions for Jill regarding the mural application?
No, I just have questions about our ordinance, because our ordinance wasn't written towards this. And so if you look at the ordinance, like the one says, there must be an existing principal structure on the lot where the mural will be located. That's our ordinance. And I like it. I just, when you gotta keep things together, I think. And then also it says, mural will not advertise or market or promote a business. And then with the lettering on there, granted it says, business district, I like that, but it doesn't jive with our ordinance.
Okay.
That's just a statement, it's not a question.
Any other questions or comments?
Mine aren't for Jill, mine are for the commissions and ready for those.
Are they about the mural application?
Absolutely.
Okay.
First of all, I'd like to know who's on the mural committee. I do not know. I'd like to hear the names.
I think I can answer that.
Okay.
The mural committee was actually approved by the city council. It is composed of Holly Whitehead, John McMahon, and Julie Little Wells.
The second thing is, this is on public property. And someone has chosen words to put on public property. Okay? They put River District, Sunshine District, Shopping District, Explore Townsend. To me, that's wording that starts advertising the city. I mean, the city has never decided that a certain section should be called the shopping district. So someone else is deciding that, not the city. That bothers me. Explore Townsend opens a can of worms. Next guy that comes in wants to do something, and you tell him he can't put wording on it. And he says, these guys did. And they go, okay, what do you want to do? Well, let's see. A Bigfoot tubing the Little River. How are you going to stop it? I think putting wording on the right of way is a bad thing to do. Now, do I like the murals? No, but I think the wording is really bad.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a couple of things. Appreciate the points being brought up. I do see where it says here, murals are permitted on one side of a building. Clearly, this is not a building, but I think the intent is sort of similar, but we could go back and say a building or a structure. In this case, under 1A, it talks about getting written permission from the building owner. And in this case, we have to get permission from TDOT. And we did pursue permission from TDOT, from the structure owner. And so is that, do we receive that, or is that, what's the status on that?
Well, what will happen is when the Board of Commissioners approves the rendering, the city will have to apply for the mural license through the
Oh, I
state.
see. Okay.
So it will go to the state level through their committees, so they will look at this as well and make their recommendations as to wording and whatnot, so.
Okay.
um,
Okay, so that's the
Several
sequence.
lines process.
Okay, that's, and then, again, I think, this is a little unusual. I think when it was written, you're
It was
right.
for a
I
target.
envisioned that it would be on a building, but I'm not, put off by the fact that it's been suggested here for the tunnel. These are large blank spaces, and I think the murals are pretty attractive looking. With respect to the different districts, sort of makes sense to me, but I guess Board of Commissioners can weigh in on that. And by approving that, that would be some recognition of those types of terms, but that's probably worth some discussion at the Board of Commissioners. But it seems to make sense. You got the river down there, and then you've got sunshine there, sunshine grows. So, I did notice about Explore Townsend, and it does say here it's not supposed to be advertising, and I think that's the logo or the tagline for the Smoky Mountain Tourism Development Authority. So I'm not sure. It's not.
No.
Is it TCGA?
It's just the website. for-
It's just.
Yeah, for TCGA Explore.
Okay, it's for it's TCGA's website. That's Explore Townsend. Okay, I'm clear on that. So, I don't know about that, but if that's advertising or not, but certainly having Townsend on there is no problem. So those would be my comments and observations. So I think all the animals and the stuff looks pretty good to me.
Can we talk about maintenance?
Thank you, Mayor.
They paint this, looks good, whatever, and first month along, somebody vandalizes it. What happens then?
Yeah, that should be covered, Mr. Jenkins, I think, in 1G, a binding agreement / maintenance plan with the mural subcommittee that if the mural is deemed in disrepair, that mural will be repaired or painted over. So is there an agreement? Okay.
Yes, she stated in the application, and it's also in the resolution that will be at the Board of Commissioners meeting.
And that's a binding agreement? To me, it seems that it should almost be a license kind of thing. Signed and certified, because it's a big deal.
It's a cost.
It'll get vandalized, and it has to get repaired. It has to get repaired in a fixed amount of time. Otherwise, it becomes an eyesore.
Yeah.
So I think.
Sounds like we have something like that as part of the package.
Well, it's in the resolution, but he's talking about maybe on the contract.
I'm
We're both
looking at
parties
binding
sign
agreement.
That's to be a
Yes.
binding
Yeah,
contract.
I
Sign.
can reach out to Will.
There has to be a penalty for not doing it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that could be a good idea. And consistent with the ordinance.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
I just, like, the wording, there must be an existing principal structure. Are we just going to ignore that? It's 2A. Or we can correct that.
There must be an existing principal structure on the lot. I guess a tunnel is a structure.
Principal structure? Where okay, if you want to define.
I mean,
that,
I
that's fine.
can read it that way. I mean, we can improve the ordinance, but I
Yeah.
think the intent is still you're saying.
Right. Just trying to keep it straight, that's all.
Yeah.
And not get us in trouble in the future,
Yeah.
and, for favoritism and stuff like that.
That's why we have to always be vigilant on our ordinances. And every time one of these things comes through, it's an opportunity to make sure that our ordinance is right.
And then just one more thing, and this is an ordinance amending section 8-604, and 8-604 has not incorporated this into the book.
Okay, so the action here before us is to,
I got another question.
okay,
How long do they get, these murals are on there. Somebody else comes along and wants to paint a different mural on that. For some good reason, I don't know what the reason is, but somebody else comes along 3 years from now and wants to paint some other
They give
mural.
us some money, they can make
Do,
it.
do these guys have claim on it? And nobody can ever do anything else on it?
it's not for this body to decide,
Yeah, well,
so.
It's a
you
good
see what I'm
question.
saying? Somebody, I don't know, the Boy Scouts of America decide that they want to promote their logo or something. And they come to the city and say, hey, I want to paint one of your tunnels, Boy Scout logos on it to promote scouting. Well, it sounds like a good idea. Well, the tunnel's already taken by somebody else. So if you paint a mural on there, does that mean you always get to have a mural on there? Or do you get to change the mural?
That's a good thing to address in the contract.
Yeah, I think we could take that up at the city commission, but that might be a way to address it, would be through the contract. I think the ordinance is silent on it, so, it's probably a legitimate point to bring up, so.
Okay, so the action for us to consider is to approve a recommendation to send this application to the city council. Does anyone?
Okay, we're sending it to them.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second? I have a second, all right, any further discussion?
All we're doing just recommended that we're not approving it, it's just.
They're just seeking, they're seeking a recommendation that this application be forwarded on to the city council. Okay. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, motion carries. Was the ordinance for the grading and driveway access. Staff will be reviewing that ordinance, so we don't have an actionable draft in front of us right now. In reviewing the older ordinance, was there anything that any commissioners saw that they might want to submit some input on right now? I mean, not to go line by line on this. I mean, if there's any direct corrections that need to be made.
Well, there's, I know of two typos, and then there's issues such as, the inspector can waive, but no conditions as to when they can. It's just like a blanket statement. And then, we've had some of the inspectors through the years, and we're setting this up for the future. So there's a lot of things like that I'm you're going to do it in a workshop or?
Yeah, we should probably do that, set up a workshop of some kind to review this, get input from all sides. I think in looking at the ordinance, it needs to be trimmed down quite a bit too, so what we may do is have staff kick it with some boots down the road and see if we can get something a lot more simpler, a lot more or less regulatory, something that's easier to, just a different version, because this has been beat up and down. It's gone to city council, kicked back to planning, so it seems to me that this version may not be a very good start anyway. I mean, we may just need to go find another wheel.
Because we have so much on the books now, so much, and adding this just made it more confusing, I think. Because if we're gonna do something, we should incorporate it into what we already had and not an additional place to look, place to miss something. Especially when there's no revision dates. We don't know what supersedes what.
I think the other suggestion that separated curb cut details from excavation makes a lot of sense. Makes it easier to enforce, I think, also.
Okay, so we'll have staff review that. Hopefully we'll have a whole new draft at the next meeting, maybe two drafts of two separate ordinances dealing with the driveway and the curb cut separately, so be looking for that. Any other input on the driveway grading ordinance?
I mean, I have pages, but.
Well, we
we're not
can
gonna
submit
go
those
to
to
the-
staff.
Right.
Yeah, we'll submit those to staff and do those that way. All right, that moves us on to old business. We don't have anything listed under the old business.
I just want to make a quick, and this is a dead horse that I've been beating, and I'm going to continue to beat it. I want a Word document of the ordinances so I can search things. Like I could not find a mural. And each one of us should have a Word version that we can, if we're looking at something, we can search it. The reason and behind this that I'm told is, East Tennessee Development has the master copy, which is fine, but they have not been, if it is their responsibility, they have not been updating it, and it's kind of a mess. So I think we should all have a Word document that we can be more efficient and effective when we're making decisions, because everything is everywhere.
Mayor?
Thank you very much. I agreed at the last meeting that I was going to take that up. I think your point is a good one. We need to be able to work in modern ways. So I'm continuing to work on that, and we'll have a report out at some point on that. So.
Because with East Tennessee Development having the master, whatever I do to it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there were points on making sure that we keep a good master copy, and I think we can do that at the same time as we can allow folks to have copies that would be editable and searchable and things like that. So we'll work to see what we might be able to do. But it's a good point that you have, and I'm continuing to work on that.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, appreciate that. And other business, we've got item A, local administrative items, and then item B, status reports. Kim, do we have anything under administrative items or status reports?
No, not necessarily. All we're doing is continue to work with the CPAC process. He's mentioned the workshop that we've done on the 20th. We're going to have the historic preservation workshop. I'm working on developing chapters in the data and the zoning ordinance based on the workshop I was had in the past. And in due course, we will do another workshop dealing with the subdivision regulations.
All right, very good, thank you, Kim.
Can I ask a question? What's the scope of this workshop on the 20th? A little more detail.
Historic preservation is going to present
Sorry, I keep forgetting about this microphone. I feel like I need to sing when I'm in front of the microphone. Anyway, the Historic Preservation Plan has taken the listing of historic places that the community, together with SC Group, provided, just whittled it down to what could be tackled, because that list is quite, errant in some ways in quite common fashion. So she's going to give some feedback on what the process should all be about. And then, as we did with the other workshop, she's going to come up with an action plan for what the city should pursue in terms of any projects, grants, or what have you. So it's basically an orientation of the historic preservation planning process, so that the city is better informed on what they can do given what is possible to pursue. And then thereafter, in due course down the line, as we have an office, we will then be working with you to
put together applications for any nominations, perhaps, any grant making processes, etc., etc., etc.
And what date is this?
The 20th,
20, at what time?
at 5 p.m. It will be part of the CPAC regular workshop meeting process. The 20th at 5 p.m.
All right, thank you again. Okay, any other questions, comments about the local administrative items or status reports? And it brings us to the last line item, adjournment.
Excuse me, I would like to, you skipped over public input for some reason. Did you have a reason for skipping it?
That was right after the report from boards of
You
commissioners.
said, there were names on the list, correct?
And they came up and spoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you?
We had 2 people come up that were signed up.
May I speak?
Yes, sure.
Mary changing this, I find it inappropriate that any one business organization is allowed to control all of the tunnel and murals, plus the entrance to Townsend. I think that other people should be able to submit before that's voted on. And it's wrong for one organization to control any murals, all of the murals. Except for the one down at the, what used to be this center across the street. And I think it's wrong of you to agree to them to have control of all three. You're totally negating the other people in this town and letting them take over.
Now, we've had no applicants since the tunnels were built in,
I'll give you one.
was it 90?
I think there have been people got turned away. There have been people.
I'll be happy to turn one in.
So we have, okay, that notwithstanding, I don't know what application's been turned in, I don't recall that one, but that's the overview of this planning commission, so thank you for your input. Is there anyone else public input? Okay.
I was gonna say, there's one thing, and this doesn't have to be anywhere, but so many people have told me that they don't know that we have tunnels, just tourists coming through. And I know we're not crazy about signage, but somewhere, I think a cute little tunnel or something, just something. Just a lot of people don't know.
Okay. Thank you, Joanne. All right, I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? I have a second from Eric. All right, all in favor? Aye. Okay, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.